All right, well, welcome everybody to the Monday, January 9th, 2023 Park and Rec Commission meeting. Welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone had a great holiday season. And we're all back to work. This is I think it's been 45 days since we've all been together because we did not have a meeting the second part of December and I missed the first meeting in December. Or do we only have one schedule? Okay, so I missed the end of the November meeting. So it's good to have everybody back. Glad we're here at full staff. We do have a loaded agenda tonight, so let's get into it. Going through the agenda for the open forum and public comments. I don't see any public figures out there, but do we have any online? Okay. We will go to the next one. The chair's updates. Generally, I like to give an update throughout the agenda, just so we can kind of hit on things. So I'm just going to go keep on doing that. So now we will jump into the director's report, which Stacey, I think you sent a separate email.
Did it that this morning as I was at a conference in the White Mountains this past week. So I just got a bit late, but lots of programming happening, starting up. Programs that are struggling, the list looks long. However, we haven't done marketing for a lot of these. We've just done the beginning in January. Now we're going to start marketing the end of February. In our winter one-day programs and events are, starting to tick up.
Can I ask a quick question about the programs that are struggling? Are any of these new or the existing programs, or if they are existing programs, are they ones we've struggled in the past? And it's just
There are a couple that are on their last try, certainly. This go round, like we've tried it before, we've tried it in a different season. If it doesn't work out, we'll rest them or go circle back. There are a couple of new ones, Lego Master Builders and Pokemon Battle Club. Those ones are sluggish. So we're hoping to get more marketing done for those. There's been a little
We
bit
should have
going on.
marketed soon to be waiting.
No, so we market the brochure, but then as things start to come up, we make a flyer and send it out. So we just stagger them as they get closer to the start date. We did reach out to the schools and some of them are putting in the newsletters. No, we didn't.
they are now.
Field and facilities, Greens is open. We need to find a date to hand out all the old boards. I talked to Eddie yesterday, or what's today, Monday. Talked to Eddie today, and they're just finishing up the last of separating and, dusting off the boards, so to speak.
Do we have a ballpark figure? Are we looking at under 100, over 100?
It's probably under 100 at this point. I haven't asked him.
Okay.
Because he hasn't been over there, but I can find out.
So we're just looking for the means to get the boards back to the people.
Well, at some point, they're gonna be delivered to us at a location of our choice from DPW.
Okay.
And then we will set up a time, day, whatever, to have people come by again.
Do we have any ideas where this place of choice might be?
My guess is it's gonna be here and people can come by when the building is open.
Perfect.
Are they
I like
in a
that.
condition that you can keep them? I thought they were.
No, we're just talking about outside.
Outside,
Those
okay,
in my
great.
covered with different, so.
Some of them were salvageable, some of them were not. So it's just if they're there, they're there. If your name or your board's not there, sorry to say, it was unrecoverable and we had to dispose of it properly.
And their name will be put on the new board once it is ordered and set up.
Do we have a date? And I hate to put a date on Eddie of when he might be done with the final boards. So, because I know,
He thought this week.
okay, do you think we could follow up by the end of the week and maybe get a message out? Because I know people are starting to ask, but I'd
Yeah.
like to be proactive and just kind of let them know where we stand on this.
Conference Tuesday, Wednesday, so I'll reach out.
Okay. Perfect.
Tennis courts have been closed, nets removed, and gates locked. There are a few people in the community that are less than thrilled about this, but those nets are expensive. We kept them up during COVID, and now we take them down and store them. And lock them. I did have two people last Friday with it, reach out to me and ask me to come down to Newman and unlock the court so they could play again.
Are
At
there
1 o'clock.
Are the nets even there?
This was before they had been taken back. I came in and took them down, and his team was unavailable, so it was me, Lou, Derek, and Kim took down the nets.
And they asked you to come back.
No, before
Oh.
that morning, they said, can you come over at 1 o'clock, because we have a gate schedule.
And we have done this in the past, as you said, we only kept them up during COVID because we wanted to get people outside.
The nets are, I mean, the courts are in bad shape. as
Right.
is. The nets are, they degrade in the winter, in the cold, they're not meant to be out there.
Right, they're supposed to be.
We only kept
seasonal.
them up because it was a good option during.
Can the nets be reused or will we be having to order new nets for the spring?
I would say we're about 60% reusable, because we did replace some last year, because they didn't make it through 2020. And if we go 2/3 keeping every year, then we're fine.
So we're
We
always
have
gonna
a
be
stack of them downstairs that we ordered. So we can replace them. as we go. We are continuing to have a lot of dog activity. I got a message while I was away. We had to call the police department. On a resident at Mills, somebody that he has been interacting with almost daily. That does not like what he has to say, and so finally he said, if you don't leave, I'm going to call the police.
I applaud him for doing that.
Yeah.
So, Wu is, we're gonna invite him to the next meeting because he is getting a lot of pushback. And I think he's starting to feel frustrated. Because there's not, I mean, people just are like, no, and they ignore it.
About, and what?
Is it just-
Mostly it's dogs on playing fields. This particular person kept saying, well, the kids aren't here, so why can't my dog play? And she was inside the diamond, like unleashed. If they're out, if they were in the back area, I would have said. It's off season, let it go, but. They're inside the fields and the dogs go to the bathroom and people aren't good at picking up after them. And even if they are, they still are urinating on the fields, so.
And there are signs up there that say,
Yes, he is requesting that we put more signs and. We said, absolutely, we can get more signs, although if we tattoo it on people's heads, they will still do it, but we can do more signage. So I'm gonna work with DPW on getting some more signage.
Fred, go ahead.
We have fine. We have.
Yes, on the signs. It is stated for fines. If you get caught off leash, it's, I think, first time is a warning. Second time is either 25 or 50 bucks. At least that's the ones down to Basio. I don't know if that's a consistent message at all, but I would assume it is.
It's the animal officer has to come down to issue fines or some other.
But DeFazio and Memorial Park are different, right? They
There's no
say
dogs.
no dogs,
Right.
No dogs, but Mills,
Mills, you can have dogs.
You can
they
have
to be on
dogs,
leash, and they
right.
cannot be on the,
Playing service.
like, inside the fence.
Right.
stand. So there is, but you have to please to come down. Like, we don't have the ability to write. tickets.
Would there be any way though to get that authority? Or say,
Right, as a park ranger, which I think this is one of the reasons why we asked for this to stop the dogs and other things.
right?
I mean, we knew it wasn't gonna be easy, and you're right, the beginning of it is, I can see where he's frustrated because he's doing his job. He's doing exactly what his job description is, and people aren't liking it because now we're actually holding people accountable for what they should be doing.
I'm not surprised it's happening. I think he, no matter how much we told him this was gonna happen, was a little
Yeah.
surprised, because
Yeah.
he's a very happy, go lucky, nice guy.
Because if somebody asked him to follow the rule, he'd say, oh,
Yeah, he'd be like,
oh,
"So sorry."
I didn't realize I was great friend. So I mean. that's
And
the main person.
there were a lot of people that are like, oh, okay, or thank you for letting me know, but there are, especially now the fields are not in use.
Hmm.
Right, it's
There's
hard.
more issues of this kind than there are when the fields are perfect. So I'm gonna invite well, we can talk about if you wanna bump the field summit, which would be great for me. But then I was gonna invite him to whatever meeting was not the fields, the next
Okay.
one or.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't town management give the permission to a certain dog group to use Pollard?
They still have permission.
Are there,
And we did not lock those up.
okay, are there any issues over there? He doesn't patrol there, doesn't,
He does patrol there, although they're in there in the morning and he works 12 to 8.
Okay.
There's been no issues. He checks them pretty regularly. There's no,
so they're actually doing what they're supposed to.
Days.
there's no, now, we just got a request to have a street hockey league over there. Like the very first email, they want us to use Pollard. But, you know, it's going to become, more than just the. And I still plan on putting, when we get the new pop-up park. Going back,
Mhm.
but that's the best place for it, but. We didn't have any issues when they were sharing. So I don't really foresee.
Going back to Woo, I do have to applaud the police department for actually coming down and following up. Because no offense, they could probably find a dozen other things to do. Than come down and control that. So I appreciate the
yes.
police following up. Backing us,
Mhm.
backing him. And just saying like, this isn't a joke anymore. Because I mean, there used to be that. People used to post to say, oh, don't worry if it has a sign that says, don't bring your dog, no one enforces. Now we're enforcing it and people aren't liking it. So sorry, I have zero passion for the people that were calling out for things they shouldn't be doing anyways. And who has the full support of us, and everything, and I welcome him to the next meeting.
Staffing.
Disappointing.
2 days before Christmas, she called and said, no. We are going back out, we're starting completely over.
What was her reason? Did she give a reason?
Yeah, the salary wasn't worth the relocation.
She was relocating.
Mhm.
Yes, which I, had brought up to her probably 4 times.
Yeah.
And included that Massachusetts has a very different cost of living than Indiana. And
Oh,
that she should look
oh,
at the
yes.
salary range versus the cost of living and insurance. Anyway, I'm not bitter, it's fine. We're gonna go back out. We already have 4 candidates that are decent, and I haven't reposted it on MRPA or LinkedIn yet, so.
And none of the previous candidates you would reconsider. Okay.
So summer staffing is also starting. We are hiring for the pools and the camp/programs. These are the positions. The forms are online. Volunteers, we are accepting applications for volunteers, not the summer volunteer program. That will go out when the program summer booklet goes out. That's separate, but just general volunteerism. And right now, we have 3 staff that are working almost full time with us because they're home from college and they want to work. So we have them doing all kinds of stuff. And we have a couple other staff that I have inventorying all of our facilities, like photographic inventory, so that we can go through and be like, okay, how many benches do we have at this facility? How many? And what they look like. There are quite a few that need to be upgraded. So.
Can I ask about the non-summer volunteer? Is that eligible for high school credits for graduation? Okay. Is there a way that we can reach out to the high school, or do we already do that, communicate to?
We reach out to them. Most kids come to us,
Okay,
usually around May, like the end of May.
When they need,
yeah,
When they
graduation's
realize
moving.
they're 10 hours short, and they need to. But we do have, people doing that. Fairly. And that's it for the director.
Can I ask one more question about summer staffing? And I know I'm asking you to look into your crystal ball.
Sure.
We always do pretty well with our staffing. We have a lot of returning staff coming, excuse me.
Way to jinx it.
I said. Fingers, my toes are crossed. But you're not as worried as you were for like other staffing things. Like generally, yeah, you're gonna get that panicky moment, but you feel confident that you're gonna get the numbers back or close to what the numbers have been prior
So
years.
in round numbers, I feel better than I did last year, definitely. My bigger concerns this year are the higher level positions, the supervisors, the site supervisors, the group leaders, those people, because we had a lot of young staff,
Mhm.
like 16-year-old counselor isn't gonna jump to a assistant supervisor. So it's more those
The age up.
adult-ish positions that I'm a little concerned about, but we're putting it out there. And we're starting, as you know, pretty early.
Got it.
Mr. Chair.
Please, and speak for you.
Stacey, it says programs currently running Blue Hill ski and snowboard lesson, yet programs that were canceled free ski and board, is that a different program?
Yes, so Friday, we have Friday night lessons and we offered a Saturday morning free ski. Put your kid on the bus, we'll
Saturday
take them
morning.
over there, they can ski for half a day, we'll bring them back.
No takers?
Nobody's,
Thank you.
but the lessons are. packed.
Hopefully we get some soon.
Well, we're Saturday, last week was canceled.
All right, any other comments, questions, or concerns in regards to the directors from any of the commissioners? All right, let's move into discussion items. Active Recreation Working Group update. I think this is Fred and Michelle. Any update, emails, conversations? Love to hear where we stand.
We have 2 days on the books. Our first meeting is gonna be next Tuesday. Yeah.
So the 17th.
It's the 17th, Tuesday and the, yeah, and the 30th. So we're gonna come out of the gate strong, lay down our demand.
No, please. I like that strategy.
Yes, but
If you don't, someone else. can.
yeah,
Yes.
no, but I think this is, I know a lot of people in this group, I think they're all excited about the project, and I think if we go in and just say like. Parks and Rec is excited to do this, if we have some ideas, we should maybe talk about what those are. So that it's not just me being like, and then he said, you know. But we did, there are 2 meetings on it.
Yeah, actually, I didn't know, maybe we could set up pre-meeting with you, me and Michelle, before we go to that and just talk about what they do. I will also be trying to move it from Tuesday nights, just doesn't have FYI. That's like the one night I have my kids. So I rearranged things for those 2 meetings, but I'm hoping that we can find a different part. And I talked to Katie King this morning or this afternoon, and she is currently working on the agenda because it needs to get posted by Wednesday because Monday's a holiday. So you'll be getting that email either tomorrow or Wednesday. So she will have an agenda.
Okay.
I also suggested maybe you and I shall look at, or like, we don't have time. You probably don't have time either. None of us have time. But the point is, someone perhaps could call and look and just get some costs from other places so we can go in with an idea of what a good example would be that parallels kind of what we're looking to do.
Isn't Framingham probably the closest or the one that people?
A bunch of different costs for skate parks. We don't have costs for pickleball or an off-leash dog park or basketball or whatever other things we're talking about. But the skate park people, Lindsay and Josh sent me, and I can re-forward them, like a bunch of basically slideshows, with a lot of information, so.
Did anyone call the, do you know on there, what is the name, the Lynch family? Skate parks, they do a bunch of them, and I think they offer funding for them, but like that's a phenomenal one down in. Like off of, not off of Star Drive, but it's in that like general,
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
yeah, it's like under the highway.
Yep,
Oh, but down by like the Johns River.
It's right, yeah,
By the
the
boat.
duck tours go in.
Yep.
Over there.
I know
But
exactly.
it's a great, it's way too big for anything we could do, like the scope of it, but conceptually, it's really. I think what we're looking for. And you'll send that info. You send that over?
Didn't Josh send us something?
He
I thought
did, but
sent
it
us
was
a-
before Fred was on.
Okay, he sent us a fairly extensive document.
Very thorough.
Okay,
Very well. All right, great. Anything else in the active recreation working group? No, that's great. I think it's great. There are meetings on the board, so I cannot wait to hear what transpires after this. Next item up, commission policies, car wash policy, DeFazio parking lot policy. Stacey, I'll let you kind of maneuver around the car wash policy.
For car wash policy, I looked at the policy that we had and it was just slightly out of date.
Oh my goodness, I don't remember looking at it. That's how outdated it is.
That's.
So, Derek worked on this, there's just a few things, but currently. We are going to not accept any requests until March. We're trying to get our bearings around the plastic project. I also, in the meantime, I'm gonna reach out to the high school. And see if we can move the car washes to the high school. Claxton,
Let's just say we have a chairs meeting Thursday about Claxton.
so there's that.
So, yeah, let's
But
just
also,
kind
like,
of bring that.
we've had issues in the past of like, kids in the road and like.
Yes,
accidents,
absolutely.
Like
Yep.
bad traffic, and so I think.
And they're across the street at the RTS sometimes, like, as
It-
people are trying to exit,
yes.
it's just so deep.
And so I think if we can get up the high school, there is an outdoor spigot, outside the A gym, so I think it's. I just have to reach out to the schools and find out if that's. So, I'm gonna reach out to them in tandem,
What's going on up there on Saturday mornings? I wonder. It could be-
way up top,
Not much.
not much, but
Saturday mornings at the high school, I mean,
Nothing.
Not, so it might
in
be,
the
a good-
spring and summertime.
could be a good time, okay. Great.
But the other option that I considered. And we have to be a little bit careful would be the cap, just because of the MBTA parking. But it would have a.
Mitchell.
That's a terrible intersection, Miss Jason.
That's true.
There's a lot of accidents there. I mean, read in the
yeah.
paper, right? Don't you read that in the paper?
Every week there's something.
Anyway.
Yeah,
You could look
but
at Mitchell too, because they have the circle drive and they have,
Mhm.
I believe, have. One for sure, possibly two.
Right, and I know that Claxton is like, it's the heavy hitter.
So
because
visible.
it's So visible and people are going to the dump and all that, but we may not be able to hold them there, and so we're just looking at other options. But
I mean, I
let's take a
think
look at
the
the
high
policy, it's
school-
still in draft form. And we can go from there if you see anything you wanna add or.
is there?
I mean, I
anything
think
that
if you teach kids Webster signs, things like that, it might be okay.
Up the hill,
Well, if it's outside the A gym,
yeah,
we'd have to go, sorry,
There's a-
yeah, Webster, right? Yeah,
Yeah, runs behind high
Yeah.
school, I guess I call it behind.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry, I was thinking of by the tennis courts.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. It's an idea.
Yeah,
Anyway, so this is in draft form, I'd love your feedback.
can you tell us what is different? Because I honestly don't know that I haven't ever seen the car wash policy. Is there anything,
Was
I don't need to see it, but is there anything major that you
there anything
have shifted
added,
around?
or is it the old one?
No, so we kind of had. In our system, it was like a very short policy
Yeah.
and a bunch of other documents that were all separated. So I took the information from all the documents and put it into one.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
And just kind of covered all the information that was not necessary.
Yeah.
So that's how this one came to fruition.
And so some of the dates will change. And there's no cost on anything that I can see. So I'll add that in. Anyway, if there's anything that you think needs to be added or explained, just let me know.
And when do you think you'll be able to, tell people about class and think you're holding off until
I'm telling people March
March?
when they call, but I'm hoping by the end of the month, we'll have an answer about whether or not it's gonna be.
Okay.
'Cause once I know for sure, then I can start booking them, but right now I don't know.
Okay.
And how are we handling dates where there can be overlap? Especially for for asking people to hold off. We might get a surge of permit requests where they're all asking for the same.
Right, so in the past, the system is not great. So what I'm going to do is set up a Google form that says like, first date preference, second date preference, like click first, second, third. Or find a way to put it into my rep where it says like, these are the available dates, pick one. And so that is, because it was always first come, first served, but at least this way. It's done through the system. But it used to be people just called and said, can I have this date? And you'd say, no, it's booked, you have another date, and that's how it went. But we're gonna formalize it basically. It won't be perfect, but.
Well, I'm wondering if we would ever consider doing. So we have Claxton location, we might have another spot location. If it's better to have generic language around, like, these are the rules around the car wash, here are the specific rules around Claxton, here are the specific rules around high school. So that it's like the general policy is generic and then there's.
Yes, it definitely should be. I actually haven't read through the draft. Since I was away since Christmas. But I think it does have to be much more generic and like, that way we can alter it to, or update it, amend it as needed to a specific location.
What do we charge for a fee?
I was just about to ask
Oh,
that.
sorry.
For 3,000 years, it was $10.
For the day,
Last year it was 50.
$50.
Last year it was 50.
and that's just to cover the cost of what?
The water,
I mean,
I mean, they bring their own soap and buckets and sponges
The
and
amount-
labor.
admin work that it takes,
okay,
50 doesn't cover. 10 was comical.
Mm.
Absolutely comical. And one of the things I wanted, like, we talked about doing them here, but we can't do them here. A, because you can't have them in the summer because of the pool, and B, then I would have to hire somebody to be here to open the bathrooms.
Mhm.
And so then there's like just all these costs. Whereas Claxton, because the bathrooms were open, is a different cost, and the schools, I don't know what. But at least there's outdoor bathrooms that will, so you don't need interior access.
Do we don't say who is eligible to hold a car wash.
We don't, that's
Right. And just, I'm thinking of our field policy, which is, you know, you have to be high school, you need a blah, blah, blah. Right, so we know this to be,
have we ever had a non-high school group?
One. Relay for Life, does
Okay.
it randomly, but that's been the only.
I wouldn't, something like that, it's not like TripAdvisor's coming down to be like, hey, we're gonna try that, you know, okay,
Go ahead and advise every car wash.
I know, yeah, we're in trouble.
well, they might,
My job was to work on the Tazeo parking policy. I didn't. So I'm gonna put
What?
it back on my list.
But that is something that. When we're gonna talk about the field summit, we gotta at least have a good idea of, hey, we're gonna be changing the flow of that.
Well, and that's why it's on here, because I was trying to get it to you before that, but. If we move the field summit, then.
You wanna jump into that right now? Just, okay, I know you originally, I think, had.
Well,
Rose-
it's next.
Oh, look at that. Fantastic. The field summit date, the 23rd is too soon. I know that was kind of something that you were penciled in. I would love to move it to February 13th. What does the commission feel about that? Is that still too short of a time? Did we look at the 27th? I know in the past,
I
we've,
want to go too late.
I mean, we've gone all over the place. We've gone before Christmas. We've done this, but
we
I,
need to do it in the fall.
yeah, you're right, we used to do it in the fall. Do we want to do February 13th? We all think that's a good thing. At least we could have a rough draft idea of what we're thinking for a parking lot policy. Are we also going to rip the Band-Aid off of letting groups know that we're thinking about changing the fees, not for the spring, but going into fall of this year, summer of this year? Like, what did we decide of when we're gonna make a update on the fees? Did we decide for the fall of this year or is it for the summer of this year?
Summer registration was.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we talked about 2024.
Okay, so we're just gonna wait all the way till 2020, okay. Okay,
Because that gives them plenty of time.
Okay.
Nobody's registering for spring of 24, and if they are. tough.
okay, yeah, we gotta draw a line.
On a PowerPoint to present at the field summit, and it will have a lot of these documents in it, and I'll have it too, so.
Okay,
As I get that more closer to finalized, I'll send it out to you.
okay. Sticking with that, I got, of course, 3 subcategories here. Should we wait to invite into that meeting? I don't want them to come to back meetings, or as a commission, do we want to do the field summit first on the 13th? Maybe start half an hour early, so we start at 6:30. Cap it at a certain time, and then we go into our meeting so we can recap the field summit meeting.
I think the field summit meeting is gonna take, because there's changes, I think we'll have a lot of questions probably. And
Okay.
capping it at 30 minutes is not enough.
No, I would say hour.
Oh.
No, I wouldn't say half an hour. I would say an hour. Half that, so it goes 6:30 to 7:30 for the field summit,
Yeah,
because I hate to say it, if we let them go on all night, we're gonna be.
oh, right, yeah,
Cap it at an hour.
Yeah.
And then we could start, take a quick 5-minute break at the field summit meeting, and then maybe go a short abbreviated meeting.
Yeah.
For the park and rec cap.
yeah,
Because I know sometimes in the past, what we've done is we've done our meeting first, and then we go to the field summit,
Yeah.
I'd rather flip it.
Yeah.
So do 6:30 to 7:30 field summit meeting. Have him come to that one, because it'd be great to introduce him to that, have him stay. And then come to our meeting after, and have him one of the first ones on the agenda that we can talk about what he's going through and kind of, because again, I don't want to come to two different meetings.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That sounds good. It's also, he doesn't work on Monday, so that's a good idea.
Okay.
And his name is Wu.
Woo, sorry. I had,
So it's wool, is it?
Wu,
Okay.
what is his full name?
Wu Ping Wang.
Okay,
So you keep calling by the name.
He was introduced to me as Ping.
yes, he was, yeah, that's what I have him in my phone as, that's what Bill Dermody gave us.
Right.
Think about that.
Hey,
Source there. Wu.
woo, okay. Perfect. So we're agreeing that we're gonna bump we're gonna make field summit the 13th.
Is everybody available? So,
Yes.
Great.
Yes, so I'm actually gone the next week. We're gonna start our meeting at 6:30. Excuse me, the field summit will start at 6:30. We will cap it at an hour, and then we will take a quick 5-minute break and then start our meeting after the field summit meeting. And be a quick abbreviated. part of our meeting. I take it we have the usual cast of characters that we're inviting, all the permitted field users.
I'll invite every permitted user as well as the schools, because it still affects them.
Sure,
We'll make it hybrid for anybody that needs it hybrid. We will, Cindy, set up the meeting room differently that day. Because that way, people, so you will be able to see anybody on the screen.
Great.
Because we'll have more,
okay,
we would likely have more people on Zoom. So I'll set it up so that you guys are maybe would be over there, as opposed to, that way you can see what's happening.
got it.
Does
We're
that make
not,
sense?
we don't have our back to the people on the screen, but we
Yes.
also have our back to the people that are here. Okay,
And can you please be sure that the trustees are good with that date?
Yeah, I have talked to them a few times, and I will update them.
And the agenda, they should be given a chance to look at the agenda in case they need to add anything or a suggestion.
Yes,
and do you want to go over this final agenda, the meeting on the 23rd?
yes.
Okay,
And in the past, we've required that one person, their percent, sure, there's all the things requirement for someone.
I will still put that out there. Because we have Zoom option, I can say, we'd love to have at least one of the person in person. Anybody else wants to join. On Zoom, it will be a public meeting, they're more than welcome to, but I'd love to have at least one person from each organization.
okay.
We should insist that one person.
Yes. I mean, I put it down as a mandatory.
Yeah.
And we will also run the meeting as it is a question and answer session of the items that we're talking about. We will not be discussing field issues with user groups at that time. Correct? Okay. So I don't want the groups to take over to be like, oh, we want to talk about Memorial Day weekend right now. No, this is not the time nor the place to do it. Get your permits in, and then when we have a conflict, we will talk about the conflict.
Are you reaching out to a pickleball person? To come to this?
The field summit?
Just a,
Are they-
I don't usually,
But I don't,
they're not fields.
they're not feeling, we don't ever reach out to the teams.
Right.
But I see where you're going with that, and we may end up having a court summit at some point.
Okay, perfect. Do something.
Course, fields, got it all. All right.
And
Keep it going, keep it going.
will Eddie be coming? Yes. Great.
Edward.
Eddie,
Okay.
Katie King should be invited. She
I
may
will
choose
invite
not to come. I had a whole list of things, but I'll wait until you send us a draft of the agenda.
okay.
Okay, anything else in regards to the field summit? Nope. All right, on to the next item we have on discussion items, the Needham High School tennis courts. Where do we stand on an app? Is it the application? What term am I
So
missing?
we have officially pulled a contract number from procurement, which is the first step in any bid process. I came in today. And the dates that we have, I got today, so I can send them out an email so you have them, but we're gonna release the RFQ. Which is basically the request for bids
Mhm.
for the design on January 26th. The pre-bid meeting will be held in person on February 7th. And bids will be due February 16th.
Okay,
So we will likely have a designer by the end of February,
and wow,
depending on how many bids we get and how we have to make those choices.
okay. Because I know there was certain user groups, not that was brought up earlier, but I know that the head of the Booster Club reached out about him,
Great,
and the tennis coach reached out
great.
numerous times, so just,
So who they did that to? You?
we'll save that for later.
Yeah, so that's where we're at on the tennis courts.
Okay. Next item up, CPC, Claxon updates and playground facilities. As I mentioned earlier, there is going to be a chairs meeting on Thursday in regards to Claxton. Katie King requested it. I wish I had more information to share right now about it, but I don't. So, as it is, Claxton is still on for CPC as of right now. We're gonna wait and see how the meeting goes on Thursday with Katie King, and I know that Eddie will be there, Stacy will be there. Kate Fitzpatrick, I think, was also on there, and so the select board was part of the chairs. So as it is right now, we're kind of in a holding pattern of just any new information in regards to Claxton. I know I was on the CPC call in December where both of our applications were considered eligible for CPC funding.
They are both
Yep,
tentative. I got the receipt email from Cecilia today.
perfect.
They have a new follow-up questionnaire.
Oh boy,
This is it.
this,
This is not in our package.
It is not, I got it. a few
No,
hours
just
ago.
give it today.
It is 6 pages long.
are you?
Really?
So these are the due diligence questions.
These are
Yes.
diligent questions.
Are they not filled out because that's the blank form?
This is the blank one.
Oh, okay.
I will forward them to you, because I got one for each. They're the same form, just with slight updates. I'm gonna start working on them.
And these were sent to all, by the way, guys, these were sent to all the CPC applications, so
Yes.
it's not just.
Same,
Yeah.
So these are the questions that the CPC person would have asked if they had met with you, right? So now they're.
So now they're doing a more, looks like a more formal.
Yeah.
process,
Right.
Which is fine. I think it's great, actually. It was just like, whoa,
It's a surprise.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of questions on this thing.
Did some of them just seem regulatory of kind of where it is, or were there some questions that you looked at, like, where did they come up with that?
No, I think they're trying to fit it into the CPC priority list.
Okay,
Like, does this project hit any of these things? And you check them off. So there's some really interesting ones in there. There's a lot, but it's just gonna take some time to go through. So I just forwarded you the questionnaires for both DeFazio, and Claxton, and,
DeFazio, you were right, Kristen.
okay, that's what I thought.
Laverne Shirley Stapazio.
Right.
Oh,
That's how you remember it.
And the one thing
But I
too
love
is
that.
they have not given a lot of turn, I have to admit, they haven't given a lot of turnaround time, they're,
no, they're due February 1st.
yeah.
And there's only 4 applications, 2 of them are ours. And the
Yeah.
other 2 are public housing, I think,
Yes.
so.
Eddie and I are gonna meet about the Claxton one and work on that together. Either the end of this week or when he gets back on vacation, but the Phasio one I will work on myself and then reach out to you guys. if you have questions. Speaking of the Phasio playground. Nancy's wife reached out to me last week and asked me to take a picture of her bench. They put in a bench after Nancy White, after she left, it's at the Phasio top lot.
Mhm.
It is in serious disrepair. So one of my hopes is to replace that bench when we do the project.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of benches in town need to be replaced, but this one is rotting.
Is it wood? So
It's
wood,
wood, yes.
the slats, the.
Weather is just weathered it down.
I mean, I would like to go to a standard bench in town, so all of our benches are the same, so that when we go to replace them, and I would like to go with a recycled material, if not metal. Because they withstand much longer.
Metal, yeah, like the slide.
Well, we usually coat them, so they're not as hot, but yes.
Leave them on too.
I mean, like, oh, this purpose up the slide, let me go sit down. Burn
We
yourself
don't
on
have
the
any
bench.
slides anymore.
So that could be part of the project. right?
It can be rolled in.
I love it. I
Right.
love it. Just quickly staying on CPC, if you don't mind, I know this is something that we didn't have to do with, but I do have to say the town common is looking fantastic. I know the gates are still up and there was a lot of hoo-ha, of, I can't believe they did it, it took so long, blah, 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 but the end result, I think, looks fantastic so far, and it's not even done yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the small accoutrements that they added to it, just to see, I mean, it literally shows why they have CPC and what the money can go towards and
Yes.
what the final product should be, so.
And thank you for going to that meeting for me.
Yeah, I didn't miss going at all, or being part of that commission meeting. That's awesome. I was referred to as that guy by the chair when I first got on, so. Boy, it's got a short memory. So, okay, anything else in regards to greens? I know we talked about the boards. How was the playing surface?
Playing service was great. We put up some signs to hopefully, keep the kids off the grass that's growing in. I did drive by there today and it looks like DPW put like a very thin layer of fibers over the mud,
Okay,
which will insulate it and help the grass grow. And then my plan is to get rid of those fibers, because the whole point was to get rid of those fibers, but it will protect the dirt and insulate it, especially if we don't get any snow. It will help insulate it, so there'll be more growth in the spring. I can tell you all about that because I sat through a session on seed growth at
we got a
It's
lot on
like
it.
Eddie now, because that's.
We got a lot on the agenda. Let's just get into it.
Yeah, let's hold up on the rest of it.
So, all right, nothing else in regards to discussion items, action items and approvals. I think I saw one come in late. Yes, Stacy from the back.
Before we go to action items, I have discussion items.
Mhm.
In your packet, there is the Park and Recreation annual calendar. And so for the month of January, there are X amount of things that we're working on: finances, programming, facilities, staffing, meetings, permitting, and policy. We will go over this at the first meeting of every month, so you'll see what's coming up.
Like that.
And then if you think we need to move things around or add or subtract things as they come up, we can start to place them in. Kristen and Fabian worked on this before Kristen left. It's very thorough. For me, there are some things that are slightly too specific. Like this month, we're supposed to talk about birthday party policies. I think we can just talk about policy reviews. And then we can decide as they come up, but. And the camp fair hasn't been there in years. And I did reach out and they are not. But this will be in your packets moving forward as well.
Okay, no, I like that. I think it's great to highlight it at the beginning of each month's meeting of where we stand. Jumping kind of in that finance, when do we go in front of, or when do you go in front of the finance committee in
Wednesday
regards
evening.
this Wednesday evening? What,
Fun.
what time you going?
8 o'clock.
Do you need any support?
If you would like to be there, that would be lovely. I think they are gonna push back on a couple items.
Such as,
They're gonna have a lot of questions about playgrounds
okay,
and playground repairs and the $25,000 and all of that. So I'm working with Katie tomorrow and talk about a list of what we're doing this year versus next year. And some invoicing questions, I think.
general invoice questions or?
Field invoice.
Okay. Got it. But in regards to those items, you think the normal budget of like where your merit increases and where your things are just gonna be normal standards?
The one question I met with liaison, Barry Kaufman, and
Hey, Barry Kaufman.
yeah, I talked with him at length about, the CO2 situation.
Mhm.
And acid controller and all that, he feels like it's slam dunk, makes
Okay.
sense. I said, obviously, we need to go and talk to other departments, so there might be a couple questions about that, since I budgeted as if we were gonna have to pay for CO2,
Mhm.
which means that line item went up significantly.
Okay,
But if we change course, it will drop down. Maybe not this year, but next year.
do you have an overall or guesstimate number of where our budget was from this cycle to next cycle, like, we took a 5%?
Six.
Okay. I mean, it's not 6 or 16%, you know, or 60,
23 to like 13 to 6, I'm not getting it.
it's still gonna be over 10%. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he seemed like. We don't have any DSL, we don't have any extra people, we don't have huge budget items, so.
we're just keeping consistent with what we had, it's just
Yeah.
sealed.
Like things around one line item to another, because that's where they belong now, and that's what we paid out of, so there's a lot of those things, so like some line items jumped a bunch and some dropped, so. People might have questions about it.
Okay. All right,
Where is that meeting, or is it a Zoom?
Town hall. Like, it might be hybrid. I can send it in, but
Just the reference to the summer camp. Have we reviewed the policy of the shift to campus programming?
we have not, I have not got it to you yet. I'm working on that with the Department of Public Health.
Or that's not for the summer, we're past the point of.
We're aiming for it, but. I was more confident on December 22nd, because I thought I'd have enough staff. I'm less confident now. But as I said before, we are operating as if. We are camp, with the exception of requesting physicals from people. All of our ratios, our numbers,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, there's two things, physical paperwork, like physicals and medications. We don't dole out any medications right now. If a child needs medication, we talk to them specifically with the family and figure out how to go about it. But those are the two big ones. And then I spoke with public health about needing like a camp nurse, so to speak. She said that is no longer the case. So we need a health supervisor, which has to be somebody over the age of 21 that's certified in CPR and first aid. So I require all of my staff members from Kim all the way down to the maintenance kids to be first aid. So we just have to identify 2 staff per site that would be considered like the health supervisor. So if a kid gets sick, they go to those people.
Now, going to, we'll word it this way. Public health has always been involved in the programming that we've done. Is it just now because we're changing to a camp type of programming, they have to be more involved because of the name or the programming change, or is it just, they've always been involved?
They've always been involved. We should have been operating, we could have been operating as a camp for many years. And the number of hours we operate our programs in the summer definitely means that we should be operating at this next level.
Okay.
So I'm working with Hannah Burnett at Public Health and people at MassDOT to get all that information prepared. So we have
Okay,
Can I ask a question along those lines, especially the events over the last week with Hamlin, where are we with the AED boxes?
We are all the way up to town management on that one, so
Okay.
we are, the one of the things with the AD boxes, there's 2 issues, one, I don't know how old they are. And we have no issues having them at Memorial. But the ones they order need Wi-Fi or telephone. Because when you open the box, it takes a picture so that there's no vandalism or theft or anything else. And when you open the box, it calls 911. And currently, we don't have any infrastructure at Fazio to do that. So while Memorial should be a light lift, DeFazio is gonna be a heavier lift along with any other lift.
I see how that is the best practice to have that, but is it better to have something in the interim until we have that set up, or are we just not allowed to operate with anything?
The
other than
AD?
that system?
If it's not a system, they're not inexpensive. Right, so they're like not $2,000 a piece, so, and they are known to walk away in places that
Aren't secured.
aren't secure, yeah. So we could try it certainly, but I would bet good money, especially with the money, the graffiti and issues we've been having in Memorial and Pollard and all the other places. I know the high school sends their coaches, each coach has one. That is an expensive policy for youth groups. I've been trying to work with public health to see if there's a way to like have them to like loan out to groups. I just don't know how that, like, how that works or what we can do. I have a friend that works, she works in sales of AEDs, so I put call into her to see like what do people do where they're in remote worlds and or remote fields and there's no Wi-Fi and you can't just pop up a hotspot. So we are looking into it. Katie King is involved in it.
So this has been escalated, because it's, I mean, it's a big issue.
Yep,
I think,
absolutely.
I think we should mention to the youth groups too, at the field summit, that, what are you folks seeing, right? What are you hearing about? And, I mean, it concerns them too.
I mean, I got an email from Red Cross yesterday with, last week after it happened with like, we're aware, here are some discounts. Do you need more? Let me know. We'll ship them out to you right away. A little bit difficult to just buy up a bunch of AEDs.
Right, this
or
municipality,
municipal.
just, right,
But
get them while they're on
the Red
sale.
Cross is also like a big push for it.
I think it's something that the high school sports are gonna start making mandatory over the next few years, and I think if the high school.
Am I?
sports-
Okay.
Okay, so I think
Mandatory.
once they kind of push on that, I think youth sports are gonna make it mandatory too.
Yeah, I mean, I have.
I agree, but-
in my car.
You have.
But I agree, like, between Dazio's one issue, but like Walker Pond,
right.
same thing,
Right.
cricket, same thing.
Mhm.
The
Right.
pool, easier, but,
And even if every
Mills.
coach has one, so you have one, Dina.
I have one during the season.
But if you don't go that day, say you're sick, right, then no one has one, right? That's to me when things happen, right?
I mean, there's one over, every coach has one.
Every
So,
coach
like,
has one.
the varsity
Okay, so you've
coach
got
would
it.
have one.
but for a user group, if like Michelle was coaching a soccer team and that day she was like, hey, Joe, can you come coach for me? I'm not
Right.
gonna be in town. How does the,
Right.
yes, that's the
Right.
bigger
Right.
issue. Like with the high school, there's a set amount of teams.
Right.
It's always. Yeah, with user groups, it fluctuates. So there's a way to figure it out, trying to reach out and see what other communities are doing.
Mhm.
Just
Everyone.
feels like, seems like cricket. Walker Gordon, that's like one field, one like. That's somewhat contained, like Tizio on the end. There's.
Yeah, we will definitely need to roll that out.
I mean, hiring someone to sit there with that someone is probably money worth spent, like really,
At those places, you're probably right,
Yeah.
if somebody's way over on,
well, and if it's like, oh, the track team has one. The happens on the soccer field, how does anyone know who to contact if there's an issue with the video, there needs to be like a. point
and
of
even if we
contact.
put one up at Spazio on the pavilion. And something happens on the track, what if something also happens on the turf,
Mhm.
like,
At the same time,
Is it worth in time? To give one to the park ranger? If he's gonna be traveling around field to field.
absolutely, but the amount of time we spend at any one place.
No, I know, but it's just right, it could be one of those things, right place, right time,
Yeah.
that I'd rather have him have it.
Mm.
Or him or her have it and then never have to use it.
Yep.
Compared to being a location and not have it.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I just 2 weeks ago handed him a giant first aid kit. Just because,
yeah,
It's, yeah,
why shouldn't he have like some ice packs and like just the basics?
Right.
right.
Yeah, I definitely think with the amount of sporting events that occur at Tafazio, we should definitely make that a priority.
I mean, it gets electricity and again, I'm no telephone operator or anything, but I mean, if you can get power there. You
You
try
can
to
get
make
out of there, it's just a matter of getting
a
like
phone line,
the financials to get the infrastructure put in. Yes, it's doable, it's just not, you can't just drill into the wall
Sure.
and walk away.
So you could have on there for use, what you're saying is you can't have it automatically call 911 and notify the authorities, right?
And it also charges that way. So,
Oh.
yeah,
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
so that's why.
You know, when it's in there, you plug it in.
Yeah, yeah.
So that it's always ready to go.
But you said it's up in town management, like upper management right now, the severity.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out like with the electrician, Stanley, Katie, myself, Ed, figure out how we can get this. And Barry from building maintenance.
Okay.
Great.
All right, kind of dance around all those things, but no, it's good, good discussion, good items. Anything else anybody would like to discuss? Okay, action items and approval, special event or late submittals.
This didn't make in the packet, probably because I was, but I did send an email from the farmer's market
I saw that.
who are requesting the use of greens for their market. Because it was,
Permanently or
much
just
better.
another
They
year?
like it.
I think they requested for 2 more years in the email, if I remember correctly. Miles from town manager did respond and say the town will not be putting a tent up at Greens this coming year.
And there was one previously.
It was because
There
the
was
town
last-
comment-
Okay, yes, okay, got it.
But now they won't be doing, it. So. That just came in, I forwarded that email to you all, I told them that we would discuss it.
So they need a tent,
They like having it.
I
yeah.
think they like
I
having
would
it.
imagine they would, but can they function on that one? Because I can't imagine we're gonna put a tent up.
I'm,
Yeah.
They have pop-up tents.
They use
Right,
pop-ups?
so the town,
Oh,
and they
okay.
just used it on the way that. The little parking area right in front of.
Oh, Gary,
Oh,
Gary Way, yeah.
Right,
Yeah, you just have a pop-up.
I mean, I think having the tent was helpful certainly,
Right.
but I
Yeah.
don't think it's a game changer for them.
Yeah.
They didn't put in anything about that, but Miles just weighed in so that we.
Um. Have they seen the new format or the new layout of the common before requesting that? Okay, so they're fully aware of what.
I think that was just so much more related. And I'm not really sure why. Parking maybe.
I heard that they just loved having it at Greensfield, it was more spaced out,
Yeah.
it was just a better footprint. Of where it is.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard from public wise, it worked.
People in public loved it. I
Yeah.
had many comments on it. Yeah.
But I mean, it's right, I mean, it's only a block away from the center. I mean, I would have no problem. Keeping it there for Sundays. For the next, at least. I would maybe think about 2 years. Let's do it 1 more year, see how it works out, because maybe the first year was great, and maybe the second year doesn't work out so well, that I don't want to commit to this, 2 years and then
Right.
have it be bad. Would they be fine with, hey, let's try it out for another year if it works out well?
I mean, I think that's true.
And
for
see if
any
we
other
like it,
permits.
see if we
Yeah,
like
see
it.
if
We
we
may
like it.
decide if we want to use this.
I think the space is fine, I think we didn't have any kickback from the Y loved it, I think it's great, I agree, I don't think you should do permit more than 1 year, we don't permit anything. More than 1 season, so. The user groups come back every season for the same things, we're gonna ask these guys to do the same thing, so. I don't have any concerns about it, I don't know, but I only went there once. So. It did not look very crowded, it did look very open, spacious.
I think the feedback was really positive on fair. That was the fair,
Harvest fair.
That was the feedback that was like so amazing and so much better.
Yeah.
The market, I think, we liked it, but I don't think it's that, I don't think that.
The harvest fair, yes.
Where there was.
Town management was like,
What do you mean to do it here?
Like, they liked it better than.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it seemed like, yeah.
Yeah, and so I just, what I worry is that if we're continuing to like permit things on green, there's gonna be more of a interest to say, okay, can we do the harvest fair on Petersfield as well? So if we're comfortable with that, I think we should consider it. I just think we hadn't permitted greens for community events previously, so it might just kind of open the door to that if you're green.
I agree with you. I think there's something to be said to moving towards more events and less sports on one of our fields. I mean, we don't have any other field space for community events. Why not make it that one? I mean, the why obviously is to be considered and possibly work out some sort of user arrangement. But in general, baseball's on there, but not a ton.
Mhm.
Soccer books it, but isn't on there a ton. So it'd be nice to have a quote passive park to run some events. You've got the playground, you've got forests, you've got some green space.
Brand new spanking looking playground.
Yeah.
As long as you can grow grass there, because we have had trouble with that.
I mean, are they looking for a decision right now, or is this just more of a discussion type of?
I got the email was forwarded to me by Amy Nelson, who's the economic and planning. Very long title person.
Manager?
And she was like, she basically was like, can you talk to the commission, what do you think?
When did it start again? Like, when does that start?
Summer, is it summer or spring?
June.
Once things.
It's
are
like
growing.
June to October.
Okay,
Yeah, it's not the same season. It's like as the spring season is ending, they're starting up. And then it goes to like October-ish.
Maybe we kind of, when does spring permitting open? Or you don't have that date yet, for the user groups, maybe we kind of format. that with
There is
the
no
same-
official date, but I did get some requests. Alright.
Yeah.
No, what do you
So-
think?
I would say let's. Table for right now that we are considering the idea of Greensfield, we want to talk about it with. Here's the other thing, talk about it with Eddie, like how much, use is it gonna get? Is it gonna be more seating, more this, more that? Like, let's talk about it with our park and forestry director, get their input. And just come to a common thing, but I mean, if you were to take a straw poll, I think we all liked it. We'd like to see it again, but we want to make sure that we do our due diligence, checking with other departments that actually maintain it. To make sure that if we are going to commit to it, that we can, and it can be upkept at the same time.
It's not on any of the field. It's
No,
on that.
it's not-
No, it's
on
not.
that area.
Front part of it, yeah.
It's not ruining the field. There's more traffic, but there's not, it's
I
not.
mean, like there's irrigation and they still have to cut the grass. I mean, it's not like it's a piece of land that just kind of sits there and it does.
Right,
Yeah.
It's park space. So, does that help answer your question? Fantastic. It's just-
Stacy, when are the spring permits due? Because on our calendar,
Yeah.
it says January, right? So,
That will be part of the. Tree packet that goes out that will accept them until. Probably February 1st. and then turn them over.
So we say that again,
February 1st,
is when we're going to start accepting them?
no,
What?
finished.
Finished?
Due by.
Are they open now? Oh, they are?
They're never closed. They're always open. Like the forum's always available.
because our calendar says they're due in January, that's what
They sure do.
Oh, shit.
Springfield / special event permits due.
And you started receiving user group requests already?
More.
Okay.
So my plan is when we officially pick the date of 13th, the user group, say, here's a link for your field permits, they're due by this, please come to this, that kind of thing. So actually, I'll have a better sense of the permit request at the field tonight.
Okay.
I think the groups need to be told or reminded that that's the timing.
All right, so going back to the packet, I don't think we have anything else for special events, so we'll skip on to the next one. Computer catches up. Fee approvals? Nope, okay. Meeting minutes.
Chris, you have to abstain.
Going to, but you beat me to it. Since I was not at that meeting, I will let the person that was running such a wonderfully run meeting. Take care.
Oh.
Yeah, that was.
That's you.
It was an outstanding meeting.
Sydney's like, what does that mean?
It's an outstanding,
There's.
I'll make a motion for that. I'll make a motion. Since you were the chair,
on the church.
Right.
Lob things.
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes of our November 28, 2022 meeting.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes.
The second.
Oh, I will second. Yes. Blah, 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 blah.
Been a long
November
time.
28th.
Discussion?
All in favor? Oops.
That's Michelle.
All in favor. The same.
You sure?
Or. All of you.
Aye.
Abstain.
Sounds like. Three, I, and one abstention, so it's four.
4, yeah, so.
Yeah.
Oh, that was bad.
Now you.
Yes, I know, yes, never. Jason, no, I'm kidding. I'm not saying perfect, you're right, I'm sorry, it's well over the machine sometime. All right, topics for future meetings, just want to kind of get an update, I know there were 2 parts of vandalism in the town. One of them at Memorial, where was it, on like the light covers? Or something like that? You sent us an email on this, yes, you did. Do you remember where?
No, it's on vacation and they can't.
It was on the light cover,
Like a light, the electrical box.
on the hill, on the box, yes, that's,
And of course, our cameras don't have the,
The bigger concern was it was racist,
yes.
so that's why it got elevated to.
and it has been addressed. and
Was
taken
it
care of.
addressed?
On the same day. Yeah,
Was it?
And so it was taken care of, cleaned up immediately, but I was away, I was on vacation when it happened, but somebody texted me and said, can you please?
Got it. And we have no leads on who the vandals were.
We do not, but I don't know if the camera picked it up, the police are involved.
Okay. There was also one from a while ago of the Pollard Bridge that was vandalized.
There's no cameras.
really?
The brand new
Yeah.
mural got vandalized.
Where, do you remember where it was? Like, I assume it's on the lower part of the bridge.
No,
Oh,
Dude, did it ruin it?
that is really upsetting.
That is-
I heard about it, was unsure if they had, because when they paint these murals, they cover them in anti-graffiti. Basically, it's like a polyurethane, so if you
Yeah.
graffiti, it can clean up
Oh.
easily. I don't know if they got to
Yeah.
that point. And I haven't been back there. To take a look, but when the.
Like, that's a place where people.
I know, but it's just like, you know, you do something good and then someone has to be a. Insert bad word here and do something like that.
Yeah.
But it's not done yet, correct?
No, and that's why I was concerned that it wasn't sealed. Because they
Okay.
hadn't finished. it.
You
So
know-
they will fix it, it'll just take longer, and I'll have to bring the artist.
It wouldn't hurt to put like a fake camera there, like something that looks like a camera on the trellis. So that you can't really reach it, and it looks like a camera, but it's not.
I have colleagues that have those, and I won't say this, because it's a recording meeting, but we do have, there are colleagues that have them in parks and fields, they sometimes work. I mean, we have cameras in Memorial, and that has not stopped it.
Where are the cameras at Memorial
On
again?
the building.
They're on the building. And on, over by the.
Stands.
Right,
Every corner.
but there's not, but not on the field itself,
Good.
yeah.
But they can get a pretty good look, like, I don't think they can see all the way down to the batting cages.
Right,
But if they see kids on the field, they can see at least 75-yard.
oh, really, okay.
75-yard line, does it make any sense? No, it doesn't.
That doesn't make a lot of sense
No,
to
it
me, but
doesn't.
I wasn't gonna
I was
say.
going the other way, thank you very much, appreciate it. Shh, quiet,
That just sucks.
it does.
Yep.
God, it's something, I can't think what it is right now. Nope, can't think what it is.
Mr. Chair, I have some comments. that-
Please.
If you would allow me, I read things. I think to mention actually a side event, I don't know if everyone knows, but our former Park and Recreation Director Nancy White passed away in December. She was here for a long time. She left. I don't know, 15 years ago, more than 20 years ago. I came out of the finance committee in 1990, and one of the first people I met was Nancy White. And because it was a newbie, the department budget that they gave me to do was, of course, Park and Rec. So my introduction to town government and town budget was the Park and Rec department. Anyway, Nancy was a valued employee and just a really nice person and very helpful to Park and Rec and helpful to me personally. And then she went on to work as a playground consultant, as some of you may remember. Anyway, she sadly died unexpectedly, pretty quickly. I think she was a very good friend of Stacy, so Stacy, please accept our sympathies for that, but I just thought we should note that because there's a lot of people in town that remember Nancy very fondly. So that was one thing I wanted to mention. And the other was we have a commissioner who received an award recently that looked like a pretty fabulous award, and I can't give you the specifics, but I did read it on Facebook. And it seemed like a pretty big achievement, so congratulations. to
Tell us about it.
Hannigan.
What did you win?
So won the, it's a national award that USA Field Hockey gives out, the humanitarian award. For the work that we've done with the community, but specifically also Marina, the girl who had the stroke. And also all the kind of fundraising and giving back that we do throughout the year, and that's a really big part of why I do what I do. So it was really, we were nominated actually in 2 categories. In Club of the Year, which was crazy, and Grow the Game Award. Those were, people had to have written into them to nominate us, and then those were votes. So once we were nominated, then we could vote. But we did not win those, but it was an honor to be nominated for 2 things since we've only been in existence since 2020. The humanitarian is actually given out by USA Field Hockey. So
That's great.
thank you.
So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for representing us.
It's been a whirlwind of a few days. It's just, you'll see soon, I'll share the links. I went to the Needham channel today, I did an interview with them today, and then Channel 5 will be in a couple of weeks, so it's fun.
Yeah,
It's been like a whirlwind.
Well, that's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And lastly, the last thing, which was the nominating papers, I think are available for, I don't know who's up for election, maybe Fred. Or if anyone's interested, we're looking at town meeting. Town meeting votes on our projects and our funding, so if you're interested, Dean's not interested, but if you're interested, I would encourage. I think there are 3 of us at a time, your town meeting, member and your town meeting.
No, I have to, I actually already filled my papers. Once
I don't know what district I'm in,
What's your precinct?
but my
is?
precincts, yeah.
Town clerk will probably tell you.
Town clerk can tell you, I had an old meeting exchange, well, phone book that would tell you, but you may not have one of those.
Yeah, okay.
What's your address? I probably.
Phone book, yes.
I'll
Do
tell
you
you
need
that.
this one, like,
Are we still
Yeah.
recording?
So that's something that
Nominating papers are available.
Oh,
Taken out, if
okay.
anyone is interested. That's it, thank you. Mr.
No, that's great. No, honestly, those were, you did
Thank you.
3 great items to bring up. Anybody else? Stacy?
I just want to note that on your desks is the most up-to-date 10-year set
Oh,
and your new name that we came for there last week. You just weren't at the last meeting.
Fancy.
Anyway, this is nothing new. This is just all in
That's fair.
one place. So this is for you. I made it as big as the paper we have.
I appreciate that. Thank
Yes.
you.
Because I printed it at first and I was like, there's no one, I can't read.
You can't read it, right?
So that's what we have coming up in the next 10 years or so. Yeah.
Wow.
Obviously,
Can you send?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be great.
Right?
I think
not this most
we don't have
recent
recent
version.
Okay, yeah, if you would send that, that would be better.
PDF. That's all.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Anybody else have anything to bring up in regards to topics for future meetings or issues not reasonably anticipated? All right, as we discussed in the next meeting, we're going to have a normal meeting on Monday, January 23rd. We will be going over the agenda for the field summit, which will be on February 13th. Again, we'll be meeting at 6:30 to 7:30 for the field summit, quick break, and then into our meeting, we will cap it.
That's what it is.
That is the 13th, that is
Okay.
correct. And then it'll be a normal meeting on the 27th and the 13th.
23rd. That's all. Wait, I'm so confused.
Monday, January 23rd will be a normal meeting.
Yes, okay.
We will then have the field summit and everything on the 13th and have a
Okay,
normal
I like
meeting.
26. Got it, yes.
It's kind of going by the dates.
Yeah.
I will be away on the 27th. I'll remind you as we get closer, but just to make sure you have a forum.
Okay, great. Anything else to bring up? All right, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Oh, second, sorry. All those in favor say aye. Aye, meeting is over.
Yes.
You can hold off,
I
stop
know.
recording. What is going, it's done.